Before we start the meeting, Alan from the BBC is going to take a few shots, so we'll let him take a few shots before we start the meeting. Mating ba agus fáte a chun chunne seo gan chóla ha gáláte an na seomar na cóla agus cuideoch tro Microsoft Teams. Agus mastáisi sin coniú lániu iad mi a chónliche calamac léin tráireachag le facail úri.
Lord our God, we give thanks again for your goodness to us this morning and enabling us to meet around the matters concerning the Western Isles. And we ask, O Lord, that you would be with us in our deliberations. We confess, O God, that often we do things that are not according to your will, and we do things really according to our own will. And, O Lord, help us to do things that is pleasing to you and good for all the citizens within the Comhairle. We pray for the Chief Executive and the responsibilities he has and the staff. We give thanks for them and for the work that they do. We ask that you would bless them and be with them. And we ask that for the convener and the leader as well and all who have duties here. We ask that you would bless them and be with us as we debate the matters concerning the communities that we represent, that we would do our duty to do things properly and in order. And we'd ask that you would keep us and that you would bless us and bless all connected with us. We remember especially at this time those who are sorrowing, and we think of the Mitchell family in particular over in Shawbust. We pray for them. And we acknowledge, O God, that we do not know the mysteries of your providence. We cannot go into these matters, and we would at these times be still and know that you are God. We ask that you would bless us all and all who are likewise in some way or other in difficulties today. We ask that you would bless them and be near to them. Be with us all, O Lord our God, and all our families. We commit to you and ask that you would bring us into that relationship to you, that we can say to you, our God, our Father, which is in heaven. Bless us then and keep us. Watch over us. We ask all for Jesus' sake. Amen.
Appalasia chónliche bigléin. Agus a choniu nis a chlárig agus biari Oettinger lárach lína cónla steine coniu. Hasam go grúnan de bhail Eilean am jochas an Johnny Coinjoch go bhfuil a chulating Eilean go bhfuil at de Clynton cónla agus is a nyomer.
Ha.
Oh.
Glima ham is mei go chulating cónla in hat de Clynton glima. I'r minister Derek Mackay, manager reology agus taien in láharach leving amach. Derek.
Got him.
On the show.
Leader. Duncan McInnes MBE.
Show.
Bad August Vatersey. Kenneth John McLean.
I'm sure.
Ian A. McNeil.
Me on the help.
Usha Jace Eriske August Benavilla. Ian Murdoch MacLeod.
I'm sure.
Susan Thompson.
Morning, I'm here.
Usha Tua Mustafa Hussein.
Show.
Ushan Robertson.
On the help.
Naherach Paul Finnegan.
I'm sure.
Kenneth M. MacLeod. Scair nan Loch, Robert Mackenzie. Angus Morrison. Skirug agus Carlavar. Ranald Fraser. Norman MacDonald. Tuv Shear agus Nish. John Norman MacLeod. Donald McSween.
On the hall.
Lochatua, I have apologies for Councillor Donald F. Crichton. John A. McKeever. No.
Sorry. Councillor McKeever is just coming in.
Colin McLean. Sean Lochatua. Ian M. Macaulay. Malcolm K. MacDonald. Gordon Murray.
Tommy Shaw.
Sean Jess. Ray Mackenzie. Angus McCormack. Dr. Francis Murray. George Murray.
Anna Shaw.
Skieran Rue. Noddy MacDonald. Finlay M. Stewart. 28 members of the Quorum present.
More than thank Derek. Imrian nishe toshishingile Imrian agus Meister Neus e Moristan. Isliene Kohle bevalm Imbraga horde Meister Neus e Moristan. Waar gunnaim na Honliche agus Vasik het Neugelotje kan deel. Bij Meister Moristan na Honliche schon skidenish voor Neukia Jerk, 3 fike te hoog Jerk, kun Neukia Jerk, 4 fike te ga. Agus waar comedie Nolem, comedie Tetes, agus comedie Innevas na Kohle. Isliene Kohle bevalm Kwarak in de Noche, Dovent, Dolina, agus Garden, agus Garrigen. Luste Urum na Planure, Jallasad Nikenjor OBE. Isliene Kohle bevalm Jalle Neerke gedet Jallasad Nikenjor Barai, en jak Urum OBE Vuloge aan de luste Urum na Planure, schon Shadavashen don Helanier. Luste Urum na Planure, Charloch McNichol BEM. Isliene Kohle bevalm Jalle Neerke gedet Charloch McNichol Storneweg. En jak Urum BEM vuloge aan de liste Urum na Planure. Schon Shadavashen Sir Holoch agus Carnoch ans na Helanier. Liste Urum na Planure Bill Lawson BEM. Isliene Kohle bevalm Jalle Neerke gedet Bill Lawson is na Herrig. En jak Urum BEM vuloge aan de liste Urum na Planure. Schon Shadavashen de Gonnisnokken na Eilean Siar. Kiat kan blione, Isliene Kohle bevalm Jalle Neerke gedet Meister Leslie Eller. Eva kiat blione geus Shachkonje nu. Meister Mustafa Hussein. Isliene Kohle bevalm Koadok in de Noche dan Gonlige Mustafa Hussein. En jij baas vuur voor Hingadich. Robert Emmerd. Studige Shadavash Innovas Kohle Valley Glasgow. Isliene Kohle bevalm Jalle Neerke gedet Robert Emmerd. Vana studige Innovas ik Kohle. Agus ga je hier maar studige Shadavash Innovas ik Kohle Valley Glasgow voor Hingadich. Patrick Mackay, Barton Halappe. Isliene Kohle bevalm Jalle Neerke gedet Patrick Mackay. Vunus de Shiatrieroch aan Eilean Lois. Ga je namelijk maar waard naast den Halappe. Le Ian Swinny, Pia Finish den Halappe voor Hingadich. Kerry Nike Fee, Ustejes. Isliene Kohle bevalm Jalle Neerke gedet Kerry Nike Fee a Ustejes. Wonig Reish Bicycle, Buin, Keduren Figet, Anastar Fjord, en de Geer Turisieke ga jachin. Morgen Moristan Brage agus Wisho. Isliene Kohle bevalm Imbrage horde Meister Morgen Moristan. Waar huis a Brage, agus a Vasik het Neugelot Jerk aan Neuloch. Gud morgen shachat bliongen boord Urus glovoor van Neukia Jerk, Keith Figet en Neuk Jerk, agus Davienle se kook Jerk. Agus waar kutjoch na Jansia katerliges krinje. Robert Burns. Gleerhiek geklachte gelestensen tussen at der nationde schon wie bros nog heel glo. Skrive ljoor voor een dablioneras, shallig skialoken. Gol shach skialoken met doi behe moise te sheer lois van lanje agus lanje. Eilean cúnla bheallam coadach in nócha do bhain héasal b'nach gynnes agus na cardan agus carrigan fad. Bhain fósta Alma Jameson. Bheallam imbrag a horta bhain fósta Alma Jameson stórnavag bhásich nugaláidíag an nuileach. Bhain fósta Jameson na teacher cúr son bliona mis de gáí driach aide cúr gobag an chóra. In jou driach a galí chaimí orre cúteocha haindan gan nólacha gur son páirste gáil an sa bhád náisianta agus is imineach a chosing bón rí lein teagisk bo Alma. Chosing I héin bón áir chum in éalaich an na nauciad diag leichid sa hóg ag díadach éis ógblana diag. Eilean cúnla bheallam coadachcin an nócha dá míc dúlas agus Rodney agus go cardan agus carrigan fad. Alsta McCeavad. Eilean cúnla bheallam imbrag a hort alsta McCeavad a bhásich a siaw lá figad an nuileach in jaibhí tein son únig gadaid. Ba meiste McCeavad na cheanart scolach níc is a rú, man nauciad diag, trí figad sa cóg diag, go nauciad diag, céad figad agus a céad diag. Eilean cúnla bheallam coadach in nócha do bhain Madialas, a chláníon, Ispal, Sionach agus Alison, agus na seach goráichin agus dhís ferichin, Aneta agus Chrissy. Meister Murachag McLeod, Eilean cúnla bheallam imbrag a hort an Meister Murachag McLeod, a bhásich an na nunéidean bhaichin ganti cheachchan ag gúis céad figad sa siad diag. Ba mis mór an Meister McLeod an na rain Ialan Artscolvig Necol als 17. Eilean cúnla bheallam coadach in nócha do cheolach Meister McLeod a charrigan na scoladan agus na cóplichin a bheige na griach. Helen Bailey. Eilean cúnla bheallam imbrag a hort Helen Bailey a bhain a teacher beola agus taithgéansachaí an na Artscolvig Necol agus a bhásich bhaichin gadaid. Eilean cúnla bheallam coadach in nócha do cheolach a bhain fósta Bailey a carrigan agus locobroch bha eolach orre. Dúisin mianan na Gaeltach san Eilean, Eilean cúnla bheallam mealanéach a chud na Lennes a chosin dúisin ag tachartas an dúisin mianan na Gaeltach san Eilean a chai chamal de húne chai. Meister Eric McCunningin bhag a séit stórnavag a chosin dúis na chadis spórs na bliona. Pepanéach coisnach níos fus a chosin dúis pepanéach coisnach na bliona. Sean an gáil van na BBC a chosin dúis word na Gaeltach. Agus ma dhéidig John White ha skrive a Pepa Bug in Eilean Scianich agus a bhónig dúis árinneach agus sesfach agus mealanéach a bhúla. Ik sin níos gan a chlár opbrach agus gearchántasan. Gearchántas na coniu cha chamal in cheirú lá gan a nólach da bíle sa céhir a ríchid a seo san úntachuig verse guntachuig. Gléim am ha, tapalais. Ná na cúspar a chlár opbrach chlárig új. Har giúriar bail új chlárig an de cúspar sa mí het a chlár oprich. Vi ga fémol na nísig bail na höfarakke an na vi chlárig új. Vel bal sa mí is in homer nuer loine son új chlárig an de cúspar sa mí hat sin náda a chlár opbrach. Angel, gléim am ha. As sin níos do go cúspar a trí question scríteach in neach gadam agus loch carich na comedian. Agus am níos do gan I bheolalas an déalaigh in a question seo agus in Fragardin. Following written questions to the convener have been submitted by Councillor Gordon Murray. There's 4 in total. So Councillor Murray, I'll ask you to read question 1 first of all.
Thank you, Convener. The first question is, it is likely that the convener will rule that the report of Policy and Resources Committee to be considered by the COLA on the 26th February 2025, when it sets the council tax for 25-26 as an urgent item, what impact would it have on the council's decision and with regard to the setting of the council tax for the next financial year, if the convener did not rule that the report of the Policy and Resources Committee was to be considered as an urgent item?
Okay, thank you, Councillor Murray. My response is this question does not constitute relevant or competent business, as it is asking about a meeting that has not taken place. I therefore rule in terms of Standing Order 25 that the question is out of order. Now, Councillor Murray, can you ask question 2, please?
Can you repeat the standing order you quoted?
Standing Order number 25. The order of business at every meeting shall, unless changed by the chair, be as... Sorry, my apologies. If the convener rules that the question is out of order, the question will not be answered, because you're asking a question about a meeting that hasn't taken place yet. So can you go to question 2, please, Councillor Murray?
Okay. Question 2. At a recent meeting of the Sustainable Development Committee, the view was expressed that the Comhairle should look for casino-type community payback for the Western Isles communities as a result of wind farm developments. The Highland Council's current policy on community benefits associated with wind farm developments, which sets out community benefit expectations from renewables developers of £12,500 per megawatt, what is the Comhairle's current policy concerning community benefits associated with wind farm developments?
Thank you, Councillor Murray, and here's my response. We have discussed our policies and wishes regarding community benefit on many occasions, and the current position is as follows. Scottish Government's community benefits from onshore renewable energy developments, good practice guidance, proposes a figure of £5,000 per megawatt installed, which should now be around £7,500 to take account of inflation. The Comhairle has promoted onshore arrangements at £5,000 per megawatt, confirmed plus land rentals for estate and crofters, plus the offer of 20% in Stornoway and Ushinish wind farms. The amount of money saved by the community through not having to go through the project development process is incalculable. The Comhairle is streets ahead of the rest of the UK in terms of the scale of shared ownership being pursued and delivered. For offshore developments, in the absence of any government guidance, we invited Northland Power through voluntary MOU to consider 2 community benefit pots. Pot 1 for the 5 community estates directly affected, to which Northland Power has already committed £5,000 per megawatt or £4.5 million per annum, index linked for 35 years. And Pot 2 for application by the Comhairle to improvements from the Bud to Barra. The quantum of Pot 1 is already known, but Pot 2 is still under negotiation. The Highland Council's Social Value Charter follows the Comhairle's lead in proposing a community fund and a strategic fund, which asks developers to contribute to a central fund which will support economic development and general prosperity across the Highlands. But ultimately, it is agreements, not aspirations, which will make the difference. Do you have a supplementary question?
No, thanks. Yeah.
So can you read now question 3, please, Councillor Murray?
Yeah. Number 3, what statutory process did the Comhairle follow when the Sandwick Hill Learning Centre was closed, particularly with regard to 1, notice and consultation period, 2, the public meeting, 3, HM inspectors' involvement, 4, questions and inaccuracies and omissions, 5, requests for additional information, 6, the consultation report, 7, new and different options, and 8, rural aspects.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Murray. My response is Sandwich Hill Resource Centre was not a school and was not subject to statutory process. As such, points 1 to 8 were not applicable in this case. The children who attended Sandwich Hill Resource Centre remained on the school roll in their own schools. Do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, I do, Convener. Then where was the provisions in the Education Act for a local authority to set up a learning centre?
I'll come back to you with an answer to that question, Councillor Murray.
Thank you.
Question 4 now, Councillor Murray.
Does the convener believe that the Comhairle's decision to give financial backing to the Midnight Sun Festival achieved value for money?
This question does not constitute relevant or competent business, as it is asking about the personal views of an elected member. I therefore rule in terms of Standing Order 25 that the question is out of order. We will now go to the committee decision reports. First one, ik me rashin Gaelic and I shall go back into Gaelic. Aishken Cogunian na committee. Agus sé committee fólam spórs agus siadhasin chlonne chai chamal in Comhairle gan Eilean. Paul Finnegan.
I move the committee decision report of Education, Sport and Children's Services Committee on the 4th of February 2025.
Finnegan Pike.
I second that.
Pike, one year Harige and Holige Mustafa Hussein. In that committee, she committee yesach is shesvoch, chai kujoch chamal in Comhairle gan Eilean.
I move the committee decision report of sustainable development of 4th of February.
The glosit is near Harige and Holige Nori Donloch, the type for in year Janart and Holige Donloch Macan Tabloish. Na committee she committee Condal agus bun structure na Comhairle chai chamal in Comhairle gan Eilean.
I mean, a closet Comhairle committee call agus bunstrectors on to Kiet and you go to lot in Eilean Danville agus co-carichet.
The glosit le Harige and Holige Ustan Robeston le Taik.
I'll second it.
Le Chenier Harige Holige Susan Nicomas, more than thank. She na committee policy is stores na Comhairle chai chamal in Comhairle gan Eilean.
I move the committee decision report of the Policy and Resources Committee 5th of February 2025.
The glosit le Janard Holige Paul Steele le Taik von near Janard and Holige Donnoch Macanage ha glosit an kujochari sham doshach and viola. There is an amendment to item 16 of the Policy and Resources Committee decision report proposed by Councillor Gordon Murray, seconded by Councillor Callum MacLean. I will ask Councillor Murray to read this amendment. Councillor Murray.
Thank you, Convener. That the expenditure incurred on the Comhairle at 50 event be capped at 50% of the planned expenditure as detailed in the report by the Chief Executive entitled Comhairle at 50 Update, and the Council, recognising the severe financial difficulties facing many in our communities, agrees to use all of the budgetary provision referred to in the report by the Chief Executive on the Comhairle, on the Comhairle at 50 in excess of the aforementioned 50% to increase the budget allocated for providing assistance to people who very much need it under the provisions of Section 12 of the Social Work Scotland Act 1968.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Murray, and Councillor Colmaclean is seconding on this amendment. Okay, the amendment proposes a change to a decision taken by the Comhairle within the previous 12 months. We are required in terms of Standing Order 67 to suspend standing orders to consider this matter. This matter was agreed at the full council meeting, I think on the 2nd of October. We will now vote on whether to suspend standing orders.
Convener, can you read out that decision that was made on the 2nd of October, please, just for clarity?
We're just looking for it. I'll ask Derek Mackay to read it out. He has it in front of him.
Yeah. It's at item 6 of that minute, and it's recommendation 2, where the Comhairle approved the 2 main proposed elements to mark 50 years of the Comhairle. The 2 elements being the production of a book and the civic events to mark the occasion.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sorry, Convener, it doesn't mention expenditure. The report that I'm amending does. We are amending expenditure, not the actual the outcomes of the 2nd of October report. So if the policy and resources report would have needed to have been subject to the same standing order suspension, surely.
Can I ask the Chief Executive to come in? Chief Executive.
Thank you, Convener. The issue here is that the report, which was before Policy and Resources Committee and is before you today for noted that it was anticipated that expenditure on both these elements of marking the anniversary, which are approved by the Comhairle in October, are contained within this year's and next year's civic budgets, so there are no budgetary implications. It is highly doubtful, though, if, in fact, I think it is impossible that the Comhairle's decision be implemented if the budget is slashed by 50%. For instance, that would make no provision at all for Harris, Uist, or Barra, and the event for Barra is already well arranged. It simply would not be possible to deliver those elements. I would ask the Comhairle to note that the budget is competently estimated to be delivered within this and next year's civic budget, and of course that budget will likely reduce because the costs will be mitigated by the income from the sale of the book and sponsorship sponsorship of advertisements, etc., within the book. So the final costs are likely to be less than are even anticipated within the civic budgets. But it would not be possible to implement the Comhairle's decision with that reduction in the budgets, and hence the matter standing orders would have to be suspended in order that the Comhairle's decision on marking the 50th anniversary be reconsidered. Thank you, Convener.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief Executive. So we'll now ask.
Convener, I've just got 2 points on the Chief Executive's point.
Okay.
This expenditure has been agreed by the Policy and Resource Report that we're trying to amend. Wasn't agreed. The expenditure wasn't agreed in October. Plus, if events are already being arranged without the finances in place, how can that happen?
I'll ask the Chief Executive to come in again. Chief Executive.
The events have been arranged, Convener, because that implements the decision of the Comhairle, and there is a budget within the civic budgets, which is the appropriate source for marking any civic anniversary, or indeed any any civic event. I should add for information, as I think it is relevant, if the amendment is successful, there will be no provision for any civic budget for 2025-26. Thank you, Convener.
Thank you, Chief Executive. Councillor Murray.
No, we're asking for 50%. We're not asking for the elimination of the whole civic budget. It's 50%, so that's incorrect.
Yes, but if you're wanting 50%, that would mean that we couldn't commemorate the 50th anniversary. It would be a very, very small scale event, and we couldn't have events as planned in the likes of Uist and Barra, which is very important. And I think it would put the publication of the book in jeopardy as well if this was agreed. So I'm now going to ask, we're going to vote on whether to suspend standing orders. Councillor Mackenzie.
Yeah, can I ask, what is the civic budget? I mean, we've been talking about either 100% of that or 50% of it, but what is it?
Chief Executive.
This year, Convener, it's 10,000, and that is the recommendation for next year as well. It's been significantly reduced in recent years. Thank you, Convener.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll now vote on whether to suspend standing orders, and I'll ask Mr. Derek Mackay to go through the statement. Please respond yes to suspend standing orders, or no as to whether or not you're in agreement to the suspension of standing orders to consider this matter. Okay, Councillor Mustafa Hussain wants to come in, I think.
Oh, yeah, thanks very much, Convener. I thought it was important to note that a decision has been taken by members to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the call. I think it's really important that we stick to that. I think it's important that that the decision, when it's taken by members, to continue. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Convener, I'm not saying that we stop the celebrations at all.
Sorry, Councillor Murray, we're going to vote. We're not going to carry on and on and on. I mean, if we take 5,000 out of the civic budget, we are not going to be able to commemorate our 50th anniversary. That's the bottom line. The budget is small as it is. Taking 5,000 out of it, we will not be able to do anything, and we will not be able to, if there's government ministers come up, we can't take them to lunch. We can't give anything to anyone who celebrates a 100th birthday. Councillor Cal McLean, this is the final question before we go to the vote.
As Mr. Murray has pointed out, and as others have pointed out, this amendment is not to stop the civic, whatever that's going to go on. It is to do with the costs, really. And you're talking about £5,000. It is actually 10,000, because we're saying that is going into not only this year's budget but next year's budget as well. So that's all we're saying. It's a case of £10,000 rather than 5,000. If people think that's excessive or it's not excessive, then so be it. It's 10,000. Am I correct?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, over 2 years, yes, but 5,000 per year. Okay, Derek, can we go to the roll call, please, for the vote? Do we want to suspend standing orders? Yes or no?
And that's to suspend standing orders to consider
the amendment. Can I ensure that when you vote or when you're saying a no or a yes, can you put your microphone on, please, so that everyone can hear? Derek.
So if you wish to suspend standing orders, clearly say yes. If you do not wish a suspension of orders, standing orders, please say no. Nacarum?
No.
Leader?
No.
Duncan McInnes, MBE?
No.
Kenneth John McLean? Kenneth John McLean?
Sorry, I couldn't get my mic there. No.
Ian A. McNeil?
No.
Ian M. MacLeod?
No.
Susan Thompson?
No.
Mustafa Hussain,
No.
Ushan Robertson,
No.
Paul Finnegan,
No.
Kenneth M. MacLeod,
No.
Robert Mackenzie,
No.
Angus Morrison,
No.
Ranald Fraser,
No.
Norman MacDonald,
No.
John Norman MacLeod,
No.
Donald McSween,
No.
Johnny McKeever,
Yes.
Colin McLean,
Yes.
Ian M. Macaulay,
No. No.
Malcolm K. MacDonald,
No.
Gordon Murray,
Yes.
Ray Mackenzie,
No.
Angus McCormack,
No.
Dr. Francis Murray,
No.
George Murray,
No.
Norrie MacDonald,
No.
and Finlay M. Stewart.
No.
Convener, we did not receive the 2/3 majority required to suspend standing order.
18 members were needed to suspend standing orders. What was the final vote, Derek, please?
25 voting not to suspend standing orders, 3 members voting to suspend standing orders.
Okay, thank you very much, Derek. It's Mirash gan Gaelic, agus Iorimi Untige Mollian Aishken Cogunian, son committee Scrutiny, Hay Hamal, Shiau Law gan Garan. Only in this Morstan, Thank you, committee.
Thank you, Convener. I move the committee decision report of the Audit and Scrutiny Committee that was held on the 6th of February 2025.
Tapaloische bij Morstan, let taik van een jaar garige.
I'll second that.
Only Malcolm Donloch. More taik ariru. Agus Lashun, Ashun tot Gnoichen committee Horne gok Crioch, Agus ne Conjushock of Crioch, Agus be in that Honu gonna Horle own. Jordan is Shakula and Hechan, Davil, se Kogeriche, da have a second give a Konjunakin, Shakun Jamar, Shakun Chikiating, son budget and Nablionas, Sheach, Agus Hishin Washington Shuach, Nachonu, gan the Horners on the Shakula and Yaran, Tapal, I will son of Lahar, Agus Sean, we got Parson, you, Agus Lamagate.